Hello, everyone. So, I was watching this episode of Ivana Fix My Life. And the name of this episode was Broken Reality. And it's about this woman right here who had married this, I'm just going to say athlete. Married this athlete after knowing him for 2 months. And I guess now they separated. But anyway, she came to Ivana for help. Now this episode is very interesting because at the beginning of this episode, Ivana talks about how women will get married without knowing themselves. It's something like that. And that's the situation with this woman right here. She rushed and got married to this man that she barely knew, all for show, all to feel like she was worth something. And that's the problem with a lot of us. A lot of us, it's just like society teaches us as women not to love ourselves. They teach us to be relevant for a man and love a man more than we love ourselves. And this is the reason why we come across women who are like this, who feel like more valuable married in a toxic marriage than they do being alone. And the reason why is because we are taught as women to feel like this, to not feel valuable unless it's for a man. And it's created a lot of women with low self-esteem and not feeling like they're worth anything without a man being in their lives. And I think this woman is a perfect example of what a lot of us do. A lot of us have jumped into toxic situations, all because we want the image. We want to look like we're wanted by a man, or we're in a healthy relationship. The whole time behind closed doors, we're in a toxic relationship. But it all started from somewhere, because on this show, it come to find out that a lot of the drama she was feeling and a lot of things she was feeling stemmed up from her mother. Her mother was very toxic, and she brought her toxic behavior from the household she rushed to get out of to get married into, because she didn't really know the man she married. She was running out of a toxic household because of how her daddy treated her. Her daddy mistreated her. And she even complained about how when she was little, he would hit her if she didn't pick cotton right or something. That's not exactly what she said. I'm just paraphrasing because I forgot. But it's something similar to that. So she rushed out of the household, jumping into a marriage, thinking that, she had left that toxic situation, but she brought her toxic attitude into her marriage. And the daughter who this show is about, I guess, picked up on that, and she adapted to that her mama's toxic behavior towards, men. And I guess she carried that with her and started mimicking her mom. But believe it or not, her mom's story is a lot of our grandmamas and some of our mama's story. They grew up in households that were toxic, right? So they rushed and got married just to get out of the house. A lot of women have that story too. I know a couple older women about this woman's age, who would say that they got married just to get out of their mama's house or their mama's dad's house. Yeah, they left that house thinking that, oh, I'm leaving away from this toxicity, right? And they bring that same toxic energy into their own homes. And it's the same way on the men's side. Sometimes men, take their toxic, take the toxic energy from the house they grew up in and let it follow them into their homes also. And a lot of times one of the children is affected by this toxicity that's inside the house, just like this woman right here was affected. Just like many of us were affected by the toxicity energy that was in the home we grew up in. We can't help it, but it did have an effect on some of us. And if we don't try to fix it, it's not going to do anything but have an effect on us, and it's going to follow us. It's going to be passed down to our kids and their kids. It's going to be like a generational curse. It actually is a generational curse that needs to be dealt with. If you look at some of our behaviors, we're carrying on some of our same behaviors that we saw our mom carry on when we were growing up. And I don't want to hear that crap about a man not being in the house, because that wasn't the case for a lot of us. My dad was in the house. It didn't change the fact that our house was toxic. There were a lot of people who were kids my age who grew up in a toxic house with their parents, watching their parents have toxic marriages. And then sometimes we'll look at those marriages and think in our mind that that's the way it should be. And that's how marriages are, or that's how relationships are. So we'll get into toxic relationships or marriages and think that it's normal and that's the way it's supposed to be, when really it isn't. And women, not just black women, all women are unknowingly taught by their moms to worship men and love men over themselves. Society teaches us how to do that. Society actually tells us to do it, to not love ourselves, to go find a man to validate us and let him tell us what we should be and should not be, instead of us getting to know ourselves and learning how to love ourselves. Because that's important. If you know yourself and love yourself before you get with a man, if he leaves you, you won't be lost. You won't need to ask nobody for help. You won't even have to go on shows like this asking somebody else to fix your life. If you already know and love yourself and don't have to feel like, oh, without a man, I'm not complete. If he ever does leave or it never works out, you'll still be fine. You'll be a little hurt. You'll get over it though, and you won't be on no show asking nobody to fix your life. That's my whole point. And this is why we have to do better. When I do have kids, and if one of them be a daughter, I'm going to do better by her. I'm going to do better than my mom did by me. It's not only going to be by telling her, it's more necessarily by showing her. Because if moms show their daughters how to love herself through her actions, then she can learn to pick up that behavior and do what she see her moms do. But if her mom is telling her one thing, but then she see her mom doing another one and bending over backwards for a man who's not doing the same for her, then that's going to confuse her. Nothing is wrong with loving a man, but you have to love yourself before you can ever love anyone else. I'm seeing other YouTubers complain about how women like to male worship, this is where it starts at. It starts with a mom and a daughter. But if a daughter see her mom male worship a man, that's what she's going to most likely grow up doing too, because this is learned behavior. And it has to end where it started at. No woman should worship a man, and no man should worship a woman. We should only worship our Creator, because He has power over all things, and we are powerless. We don't have power over anything. We think we have power, but at the end of the day, the Creator has all the power. That's the only being that we should worship. We shouldn't worship no human being on earth. We should only worship the Creator, which is a spiritual being. And this is what we should show and teach our daughters. Well, I'm about to go. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Peace, y'all.